Hello YouTube, my name's Sean Connors and welcome back to the Outsiders channel, and in today's video what we're going to look at is the art of dungeon craft, and to do that we're going to have to take a look at one of the classic modules to do it and give it justice, and this is the Tomb of Horrors. So there will be some spoilers in this video, and if you do have a copy of the classic Tomb of Horrors or a PDF or whatever you may have your hands to, just for reference dig out the map and a few notes of it that you have, and please do follow along. There will be some spoilers in this video, so if you haven't played it yet, then I would advise that you just switch off. Don't bother to view this video until after you've played it to look back. And if you're going to run this one, it's a great little video just to get an idea. Or if you love building dungeons, I think the Tomb of Horrors is fantastic for understanding the art of dungeoneering and the craft of it all. Many people tend to create really weird and wonderful haphazard dungeon maps, and they're fine, but really what you're asking your players to do is search every single 5 foot of space, because how else are they going to, well, they could be trapped to the eyeballs. What do you expect? Whereas if you employ a more logical approach to the way you set up your dungeons, it requires less rolling of dice, a more fun exploration, and then when mistakes happen, they happen, and they happen for a reason. And I think the Tomb of Horrors really does illustrate this, albeit in a very basic way. It does it in a fantastic way, in my view. I read a blog today from John Wick, which basically said this was the worst module ever, and it was just a meat grinder. And I think he completely missed, in my view, the point of this module. It was when and why it was built, and the reasons why it was built at the time that it was. It's an absolute classic, and it was designed by Gygax to test those who'd reached the level that they thought they were fantastic and nothing could stop them. This module was designed for them, but at every turn it allows the player to make a decision, and if they make the wrong one and a bad one, it's not just making, oh, I went left instead of right, what a stupid idea, what a bad idea that was. He doesn't penalise you for that. What he penalises you for is doing the stupid, and he does it ever so well. You make the mistake, you pay for it massively in this, but there's always the chance, don't forget this, if you don't like what you see, you just pull out. Yeah, Tomb has beaten you, just live with it, accept it. That's the fantastic thing about this module, you know, and that's what I loved about it, is it literally gave you that rope. Yeah, carry on if you want, hang yourself if you like, can you beat me? That's the question. So let's pause the video, let's have a look at the map on it, and please dig out your copy. What you'll see as you look at your copy of the map is very simply this. We won't be able to cover off too much in this video, but there is the overlook. If you were looking down from 200 feet, you would see a flat top hill with a visage of a sort of a skull type shape to it. Inside is this tomb. Now this is very clever because it is a flat top hill about 100 foot high. There is a 20 foot down, there is a ledge that runs along the back here that you can traverse with a rope down. You can easily get onto this ledge. Now logic tells you, this is why it's very clever, that if you search the near area here and the near area there, if you should find anything, that seems odd and out of place considering the position of the hill. And boy, obviously is it, because each of those areas, these two little chambers here, are trapped. Now this one is the main entrance way in. It is of course trapped in different ways, but it's the only true entrance into the tomb. This is a very, very clever design. Now even the traps, you have an opportunity to spot them. Let's just cover one of them off. Let's cover the very first room, S1. Okay, it says the false entrance tunnel. There is a picture for this. I'll try and dig one out and show you. The corridor is plain stone, roughly worked, and is dark and full of cobwebs. The roof is 20 foot overhead and is obscured by these hanging threads, so casual observation will not reveal that it's composed of badly fitting stones. Daylight will be sufficient to reveal that there is a pair of oaken doors at the end of the passageway. If the roof is prodded with any force, or if the doors are opened, the roof of the tunnel will collapse and inflict 5 to 50 5d10 hit points of damage upon each character inside with no saving throw. I have no problem with that. Personally, there is every opportunity to spot that this is a false entranceway. Really is lots of opportunity to see something is very, very wrong with this. And remembering the level of the characters, they certainly have some get outs even if things go wrong. So I see no problem with it. Plus its positioning, you see, very cleverly done. Doesn't penalise you for walking down a corridor. What it does do, as soon as you get to those false doors, if you don't realise they're false doors by this stage, the whole corridor will fall in on you. You take a certain amount of damage. You're not blocked in this case because it's rubble from the ceiling, but you are severely hurt, allowing you still to heal up because you haven't gone in. It's totally fair. Yeah. Now let's assume, let's not go on to the third one because I realise we don't have enough time for this, but let's assume you found the main entrance way in. Let me describe that to you and let's see why this is clever design. This is the entrance to the tomb. Even a bit of daylight, this is section 3, even a bit of daylight entering through a crawl space or a torch will reveal that this is an unusual tunnel. Bright, brilliant light are to be seen everywhere. The stones and pigments, undimmed by the passages of decades. The floor of the corridor is colourfully mosaic of stones with a distinct winding path of red tiles and about 2 foot wide, each visible to the onlooker. No stonework can be seen on the walls or the ceiling 20 feet above, for some sort of cement or plaster has been smoothed over all of these surfaces and then illustrated upon. The scenes painted show fields with kine grazing and corpse with several dwarfs in the background, slaves, human, orc, elven and strange animal mixture of pig human, ape human and dog human going about their various tasks. Certain of the frescoes show rooms of some building, a library filled with many books and scrolls, a torture chamber, a wizard's workroom. There are chairs, windows and doors, chests, birds, bats and all manner of things shown on the walls. So let's have a little look at that illustration, okay? And also I'll just show you illustration 1 with the cobweb room because it's worth looking at. So you can see the cobweb room, you can see the double door at the back. Very grandiose for an entrance tomb in, quite interesting. Now let's look at the passageway leading off into the frescoes. Now you can just barely make out the winding path that leads down to nowhere. There looks like there's some sort of strange barred door on the wall. And you'll notice if you look very carefully here that this does look three-dimensional, and there's a reason for it, because it is actually three-dimensional. It is actually a box on the wall that contains something important to the tomb. None of this cannot be seen through the map. All of it is there to be seen. If anybody worth their salt is going to just wander blindly down the path just because it's there in a tomb with this reputation, they deserve everything they get. So you have to approach this with careful skill. Now, one of the things that you'll come across quite quickly near the end of this passageway, which is one of the famous bits that John Wick talks about in his little view, is the green mask. It's on the back of the module. Now, you'll notice there's a weird archway here with mist in it. Well, we won't go too much further into this here, but what we will say is this: if anybody tries to shine light in, no light reveals. You can't shine light into it. If you throw a pebble in, you will hear nothing. If you then decide you want to climb into this fully, then don't be surprised when the referee says nothing, doesn't give any clues, which is what the module advises you not to do. And if the next man follows in, and the next man, and the next man, then you're all dead. Sorry, but if you're going to wander into a blackened hole, what do you expect? Now, my view is that this is incredibly clever designing, forcing you to look at all the other options first before dare risk anything that can possibly kill your character. And all the way throughout this module, as you look at it, he's very clever at setting up psychological challenges. Often you'll see a long passageway stretching away to nothing. There's the allure of some door at the very end, and the passageway is over 80 foot long. You're not worried about that? I would be. Is this right? Are we going the right direction? What's going on here? This is what this module does with such elegance and effort, and that's what great Dungeon Craft does. It should make you look at each area without having to check every 5 foot of corridor space for a trap or every area for something going on. This module is riddled with different challenges and traps, but many of them can be avoided, and with careful play, a skillful group can complete the Tomb of Horrors in an evening session of 4 hours. Now, I have many experiences with this module, many experiences, all of them very good actually, and no player has ever turned around to me as a GM, perhaps because of the way I've set it up, and complained about it. It's not the meat shield that people think it is, and it's certainly not a class. It's certainly a classic. But what it definitely does, or what I believe it does for you, is it should make you examine the art of Dungeon Craft, examining why you place something where you do. Why would you trap a secret door? It's a secret door, for God's sake. You don't need to trap a secret door. Why, if a passageway bends off at an odd angle, why would they do that? You should be questioning those things as a player, because it costs, if you imagine back to the very origin of this hobby, it was something crazy like 10,000 gold pieces to roughly craft out a 10 foot by 10 foot high corridor. Just a 10 foot one. So think about how much money goes in, or how much effort and how many slaves are required, or mining craft is required, or magic is required to actually create a dungeon, no matter how it is done. It's a lot of effort that goes into it. So whenever you make any odd turn in a dungeon, there should be thought behind it. Whenever you use more than one door in a room, there should be some logic behind it. What is it achieving? If everything is random and haphazard, which there is a need for sometimes, we all want to enter Isengard the Mad's tomb occasionally. I love all that sort of stuff. But most dungeons should have a craft behind them, a skill, a synergy, and that's something that you should consider with your modules. I would look back at this particular module, the Tomb of Horrors, with great fondness and say that it's beautifully laid out. Every time there is a challenge in here, I feel it's very fair. It's getting you to think around the story. It's getting you to think around your characters, what they're capable of doing. And there are many times where players have the opportunity, which is great writing, to just simply turn around and get out. Yeah. And equally, there's a chance even in this one where they may think they found a great treasure and leave having not found such a great treasure after all. But by the time they get back to civilization, it's probably too late to return. So the tomb once again survives. So it has that beautiful design concept in it, and I'm afraid we just can't spend too much time talking about it, but I thought for the benefit of you listening in, we might just touch on the subject of Dungeon Craft. And if you'd like to see more on this subject, we'll cover it off in future videos. Please leave a comment. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. I've been Sean Connors, talking today all about the art of Dungeon Craft, looking back with great fondness once again on the Tomb of Horrors and the brilliance of its design. Anyway, take care of yourselves and happy gaming. Bye-bye.